All right, we're going to start our second set of presentations before we break around noon to do lunch, which should get here a little bit. Right, so welcome back. I've started the recording again. And so next, our fifth presentation is Lisen. So.
My name's Lisen. I'm a psychology student, but I also minored in history, so my paper is on a history topic. It's for my capstone class in history, and it's all Baltimore's Koreatown. So many might say, does that even exist? Well, it kind of did back in the day, just right across the street over here. You could see it from this window, actually. And this mural...
I'm sorry, I think I forgot to screen share, so nobody can see it online. So hold on one second.
Well,
we won't hold that against you.
Can you see that mural maybe from here? I don't know.
Yeah.
Sure. You can see from the winter. Yeah, you can see it from the law building on the top floor over there. This exact mural.
Actually, you can see the very top of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
There we go. Now everyone online can see your presentation. Sorry about that.
So like I said, this is based on my paper for that class, and it's also based on a paper I'm writing with Dr. Yi, which we're going to present in Korea at the end of June as well.
Wow.
So why is this topic important? First, it explores the history of Korean immigrants in Baltimore City, which there's almost no scholarly research on this topic. It also reframes the narrative that Baltimore declined after the 1968 riots, and it instead highlights how the city was a place for growth and opportunity for Korean immigrants. And it also applies the middleman minority theory to explain the role of Korean immigrants and the business owners specifically in Baltimore's different neighborhoods. Okay, so first, just a brief introduction to Korean immigration across the U.S. in general. So it began in 1903 when Korean workers arrived in Hawaii to work on sugar plantations, but it remained very limited until the mid-20th century because there was a lot of anti-immigration or anti-Asian immigration acts here in the U.S. The number of Korean immigrants increased significantly after the Immigration and Nationality Act of 1965, and it ended with the National Origins Quota System, which prioritized family reunification and occupational skills. And you can see some numbers here. This is per year, so between 1976 and 1990, there was 30,000 Koreans coming each year. So to look more specifically on Baltimore, so prior to 1965, where the Immigration Act came in, only a small number of Koreans settled in Baltimore, and a majority of them came to the United States as professional students or due to their involvement in the U.S. military. We saw a significant increase after the 1965 Act, and in 1979, there was approximately 14,000 Koreans in Baltimore General, and then about 5,000 in the city. And they constituted the largest Asian community in Baltimore in the 70s. So they were not necessarily concentrated in one area, as you can see. They were kind of spread all throughout the city. And while this was generally true, there was also a concentration in the Charles North neighborhood, which I pointed to over there. And it peaked in the 1990s. There was a lot of different Korean businesses in that area. But they were more likely to be catered towards the Korean community, while the businesses that were spread out across the city were grocery stores, liquor stores, things like that were catering to everybody in the neighborhood. And you can see here, that's the streets over there. And some of the businesses, some still exist, some don't. Yeah. So although a lot of them arrived with relatively high levels of education, the language barrier was a big hindrance to employment. And so as a result, many turned to small family businesses in the cities where rents were more affordable and limited English was less of a barrier. So community type serves a really important role in connecting people to run their businesses. So it was common, let's see, wait, no. Okay, yeah, it was common to borrow money from friends and family to purchase a business, and business owners would in turn often resell their business to other Koreans, and that way they were able to earn money and keep the capital within the community. It also generated work for the whole family. So like you can see in 1997, there were 2,800. Oh wait, I think I might have jumped too quickly or something. Anyways, no worries. Yeah. So in 1997, only half of the Korean-owned grocery stores in the city had any employees, and those who did averaged fewer than 3. Let's see. I think I might have skipped something. So, anyways. Yeah, so you can see Korean-owned businesses in the city. In 1997, there was 2,875 businesses in the city, which is quite a lot. This include grocery stores, liquor stores, wig shops, service stations, all kinds of businesses. Okay, yeah, this is what I was talking about. So yeah, the trajectory would be a lot of people would buy their business in a low-income neighborhood from another Korean immigrant, and that way they would take over the business, run the business, and resell it to another Korean immigrant. So there's a lot of attention on the tension between African American community and Koreans in Baltimore City. So I explained that in my paper through the middleman minority theory. And this theory is when highlighting when a racial or ethnic group is positioned between one group of higher status and one of lower status, and often they're playing an economic role between these two groups. So my focus was on how Korean small business owners in Baltimore functioned as a middleman minority between the city's white residents and the low-income Black residents, and particularly through their role as distributor of food and goods in poor and underserved neighborhoods. So like I said, they ran their businesses in these underserved low-income Black neighborhoods, which were often not viewed as profitable enough for big corporations to run their businesses in. So Koreans stepped in as a middleman. And so they were often the only accessible grocery store in the neighborhood, which created a dependency on them. And they would receive a lot of the hostility from the people in the neighborhood that came from the general frustration with systemic inequality and discrimination. So in the late 70s, there was an increased focus on this in the news. And this conflict wasn't unique to Baltimore. It was happening in a lot of metropolitan cities. But there were some aspects of it that was unique to Baltimore as well. So from the Korean perspective, the main complaint was focused on harassment and violence as store owners. This would happen a lot where they would face that as business owners. There was also the limited English skills that were holding a lot of business owners back from resolving any conflict. And from the African American perspective, the perception was that when non-Black business owners came into their neighborhood, they profited at the expense of the communities while directing the profit out of the same neighborhood. There was also rumors going around that Koreans were receiving these advantageous loans that they were not receiving. And while Koreans were also discriminated against in many ways, they were playing a role in furthering the inequality in Baltimore City as a store owner, which also caused frustration. I also want to highlight that it was not all bad. It definitely was not. There was also solidarity in the experienced marginalization, and many store owners had great relationships with their customers, and there was an active effort to fix this issue within both communities. Like you see in the pictures here, that's from a store in West Baltimore, where the Korean store owner has a great relationship with her customers. Let's see. So in conclusion, history of Baltimore City's Korean community is often a forgotten history, but it can help broaden our understanding of Korean immigration in the US and as well broaden our understanding of Baltimore's history. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you. Questions for Lisen? Yes. All right.
This is a great presentation. I was interested in knowing if you did any research with KOBE, which is the Korean Business Enterprise Association, which is here in, I think it's based in Baltimore, but I'm quite sure it expands Maryland.
No, I haven't. That sounds super interesting, though. I mean, we've looked into. It's really hard to track like all the businesses that have been in the city as they come and go. A lot of the businesses that are in this neighborhood right over here have closed just in the most recent few years. Like the Crown, for example, was a
Cry.
yeah, it was a Korean business that closed down not very long ago. So I would definitely look into that. Thank you.
That place was crazy. I loved it. Anyone else? All right. And then Dylan's up next. Oh, no, you do for accessibility purposes.
Love the ADA. Why this topic? Is it proximity? Is it an interest you've had over time? How did you come to choose this?
Well, I took Dr. Yi's Modern Korea class, first of all, and that was really interesting. And then Dr. Yi came to me with this topic, and this is a really big like passion project for her too, and she's been working on it for a long time. So getting to work on this was super interesting. And then I'm really interested in immigration, and as a topic as well. So looking at different immigrant communities, especially the ones who have not had a lot of focus in history, was really interesting to me.
Definitely an overlooked one.
Yeah.
Thank you again. All right.